This is 7:30 Tea with Ree.
So I'm like, oh my god, I'm literally stranded in a flooding canal.
He's like, oh, I hope you don't mind. I invited my friends.
When he pulls up to pick me up, he's in a weird-looking van.
Ree is spilling all the tea. Hello, everybody, and welcome to 7:30 Tea with Ree. Oh my god, you guys. When I tell you my head is hurting today so bad, it's because earlier I went to brunch with my best friend, who I have not seen him in forever. He's my best friend. Maybe I shouldn't say the name. I'm like, do I keep these things anonymous? No, I don't care. Brendan. I'm like, I don't think that should be a secret. Is that weird? I don't know. Whatever. My best friend, Brendan. I got to see him earlier today, and it was so much fun. I don't get to see him as much anymore, so it was exciting to catch up, because him and I, we used to live closer growing up. Well, not, growing up, from young, but, high school years and stuff like that, and we would hang out, every single day, but, as you get older, it becomes harder, you become an adult, you get a job, and you, move into apartments and stuff. So now he's not living 5 minutes away from me anymore. So when we get together, it's the most exciting. So I had a lot of fun. We went to this place called Whalers. And if you're from Long Island, maybe you've heard of it. If you are not from Long Island, or maybe you are from Long Island and you've never heard of it, search it up and go there, because the food is really good. It's definitely a good spot for brunch or dinner, just any point of the day. It's just a good spot. We got mimosas and bellinis. We got not a flight, but when they could do a 90-minute drink thing or whatever, we did that deal, which is $25 a person, which is not bad. So we had a whole bunch of them. We just poured it out of this bottle, which was nice, but I'm also just yeah, my head hurts now. And it was way earlier in the day. Right now it's 5 p.m. And how I said that I did that earlier in the day? I think I was there around we went around 11 a.m., right? And at 3 p.m. I do lessons for these kids at my other part-time job, where I'm a music instructor. So sometimes I'll do vocal lessons or piano lessons, but I've been doing a lot of vocal lessons lately. So I have that on Fridays. So I had from 3 to 5:30 today. And before that, I had all of those drinks. So I was so tired. I had to find the energy in me to help give a vocal lesson to these kids. And it's hard. It's so hard to pull the energy out of you when you just want to go to bed and you just want to sleep and just lay there and just rot. So yeah, I got through it though, which was nice. So yeah, that's what I did today. That's what I did. Anyways, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. I've also got to catch you up on something, you guys. So, you guys know how I was going through a rough time in my love life, and I shared to you guys my little tea in all that areas and stuff, and how I told you guys I've been seeing someone new and everything. Well, we made it official. We made it official. He's my boyfriend, and it feels really good to say that and to know that and to have that. So yeah, I am officially off the market. I'm really, really happy. If I'm being so honest without being dramatic, this man is honestly everything I've ever wanted. And that's not even me trying to put it that lightly, because it's just true. He really genuinely is. And I am really excited for that, and I'm hoping I don't fuck it up. But it's going really, really well. And yeah, he is one of the kindest people that I've met. So thoughtful, so sweet, so caring. And I am just excited to get to know him more and more. Still take my time, but also enjoy the flow and the pace that it's going at, because we're both very much on the same page with everything. I was going to say a lot of things, but it's pretty much everything. We are on the same page, which is really, really nice for once. You know, it just feels very healthy. I'm not ever worried. I'm not ever stressed. He just makes me happy all the time. And he makes it like his job to make me happy. Not in a weird way of like, oh my God, he's like overextending. He's like that's his job. Not in that way, but more of just like, you know, he makes the effort to make me happy. And that's a good thing. He literally bought me flowers on the first date and all of that stuff. And when he came to meet my family, he bought like more flowers for me, but he also bought flowers for every single woman in my family too on the first meeting. Like he wanted to make a good impression. He wanted to be really sweet. He even got my sister a birthday present because her birthday just passed and all of that stuff. So I just like how thoughtful he is. You know, it's not even about, oh, he bought flowers or, oh, he paid for this and that. It's more of just like he thinks of things and that's just how he is, you know? Like even the other day, he did something so cute and it was something so small, but like, wow, like that's so thoughtful. We had planned to hang out after work. Because I get off work late sometimes. I get off work sometimes like 9 p.m. So I was like, let's hang out after. And so I went over to his so we could have a movie night or whatever. And so when I get there, not only did this man get us ice cream and all that stuff, and he tried to get us cookies and cream, but they had ran out. He got vanilla, and then he got Oreos, and then he crunched it up inside and mixed it around for me so that I'd still have my cookies and cream. Then, this man also, because he figured I'd be cold when I get off late at work, right? He heated up his dryers, not his dryers, oh my God. He heated up his comforters in his dryer or whatever, and wrapped me in it so that I'd be, like, extra warm. And when we were hanging out in his room, he left flowers on his dresser for me with my name on it. This man. That's what I'm saying is like, he's so thoughtful and so kind, and it's just so exciting for once to finally be in something that I know I deserve, you know? But anyways, enough about all of that stuff. So as you guys can see by the episode title, today we are going to be doing a spiritual episode, which I have not done in a minute, and I'm like, I feel like we should do one. This one, though, I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of sad, or it's definitely sad, but I figured it was still a good story to share, just in regards to like intuition and trusting it and feeling that and knowing that if you are feeling something so strongly to actually just believe yourself. So that's why I felt like it would be a good story to share, and it's also good for people who are now, I guess, getting in touch with their spiritual side. Now, as I've said in the past, and also in case you're new here and stuff like that, like, I am spiritual, but I also am kind of Christian. I haven't, like, officially gotten baptized in like, a Christian church, you know? Like, I was born Catholic and baptized Catholic and everything. But I would like to kind of convert to Christianity. If you think that they're the same, they are different. And I also go to a non-denominational Christian church too, so it's definitely different. But basically, I am both Christian and spiritual. That's what I practice, at least, you know? So it feels good to finally know what it is that I believe in, because I did struggle with it for a bit, because growing up I was always Catholic, but I had this spiritual side that I always believed in and wanted to know more about, but I was always taught that it was wrong. So for a while I was agnostic after graduating high school, which was weird for me because I grew up going to church every Sunday and doing Bible camp, being a Bible camp counselor, being part of the Junior Catholic Daughters. Like, I was always involved in church things. So when I wasn't a part of it and I was agnostic for a while, I felt like I lost a part of myself and I was confused because I didn't know like what to properly believe in and what to properly practice. So it's like a part of my routine was gone and I didn't really know how to go about that until I tried a non-denominational Christian church, and I was like, this is very, open-minded, diverse, and I feel comfortable and safe here. So yeah, that's what I practice now. And I still, like I said, I have that spiritual side, so I still give readings and stuff like that. I don't always go to get them as much. I had a phase where I would not regularly, but pretty frequently go to psychics and stuff like that. But I think I like to give the readings instead, and when I do them, I like to do that through God. And growing up, I was taught that kind of thing was wrong, but I don't think it is wrong if you're doing it through the right source rather than just a random spiritual source, if that makes sense. Anyways, I have been rambling for a little bit, so I do want to be getting into our story in a bit. But before I do that, if you are new here, I'm very happy that you're here. And I would just want to let you know what this podcast is about. It's all about spilling tea and sharing your deepest, darkest secrets. So if you have any tea to spill, DM me on Instagram at 730tea with Ree. And you spell that 730 TEAWITHRIE. Or you can DM me on my main Instagram account at Rihanna Flores, and you spell that RIEANNAFLORES. And if you wish to be anonymous, please let me know. Your story should be up to 500 words or less, and if you want to send an audio voice message in instead of typing out your story, just please keep it up to 5 minutes max. Thank you. Now, without further ado, we're going to be getting into our story. So yeah, this is called That Time I Predicted the Death of a Doctor. So I'm going to give you guys just a very quick little backstory, just so you get an idea of what my abilities are like. So in case you did forget, or in case you are new, I'm kind of a medium, as I kind of, mentioned in the beginning of this, but just, reiterating some stuff. I don't always like to identify with psychic or a medium. I don't always like to identify with it as much, not because I'm ashamed of it or this or that, but just because of the common misconceptions. Because a lot of people immediately think it's bad, or they think that it's witchcraft, or they think that it's wrong, or they think that you're worshiping the devil, and it's none of that at all. So I am I'm a spiritual reader and healer, and I have clairvoyant abilities through dreams. I also give tarot and sound healing readings, and just regular sound healings as well. Now when I do that through my singing bowls. I don't know if you've ever seen a singing bowl or not. Search it up. It has a really beautiful sound, and there's singing bowls in different notes that align with the chakras and all of that stuff. Now, when I meditate with those, I just like to follow the chakra that it matches, and I try to meditate that way sometimes. Or sometimes I'll just pray. Sometimes I'll pray, sometimes I'll meditate. It's a mix. But anyways, when I do readings and stuff like that now, the readings are usually very intense, and they take a lot of energy for me sometimes. But I usually start the readings off by playing my singing bowl. And while I play that, I kind of I follow the sound, and the sound tells me your backstory. It gives me information, but while the sound is doing that, it's also allowing me to heal you as well. It's kind of like using different sound frequencies to calm the brain down, basically. Or I don't even know if I should say calm, but more just recenter yourself and be present with yourself and your emotions, and just accept your emotions as they are. I also do tarot readings as well. Whenever I do the sound healing readings or the tarot readings, I can usually feel when relatives are present and stuff like that. Sometimes if I'm talking to someone, I might feel it too, but it doesn't happen all of the time. Sometimes I'm not always tuned in. Sometimes when I am tuned in, maybe I easily feel something, or maybe I'm not tuned in and something just, comes out of nowhere and I might feel it. But basically, if someone like meets a psychic or a medium, they immediately think that they just know everything about you, and that's just not how it works. Like for me personally, if I meet someone brand new, maybe I might get a vibe, but I'm not sitting there constantly thinking like, oh my god, I know them, or I'm gonna read them, because I don't like to read without permission. I'm not just gonna read your energy or tap into your energy, because doing that also can affect mine. So that's why I don't always like to do that. Like if I'm giving a reading, I'm literally tapping my energy into yours for that reading. And so I don't always want to do that all the time, all day, every day. So, some psychics are okay with that. Me personally, I'd rather, just here and there. And that's just how it is for me. I'd rather not extend my energy that much and not have to cleanse myself that much, because I usually do cleanse after a reading, or I try to just, pray after a reading and stuff like that. So for the people that have the common misconceptions about it, no, you don't just know things on the spot. They just come whenever they're supposed to come. So yeah. Anyways, now that I gave you guys a backstory, we're going to get into the story, the actual one. And like I said, this is kind of a sad story. I'm also going to include a trigger warning as well. There's a suicide involved in this, so I want that warning to be there ahead of time for anybody who's having those types of thoughts. Maybe this might not be the episode for you to listen to, or maybe you might want to listen with someone. So I just figured I'd warn you ahead of time if that is going to be something that's going to trigger you. Alright, I'm going to start my story now. So back in 2021, when I first graduated college, which I went to Sacred Heart University, when I first graduated, I was happy and excited. I got my degree. I got a degree in the Bachelor of Arts, and I went to college for media and all that stuff. But it was honestly really hard applying to jobs. So I kind of just wanted to take any job as soon as I graduated, just so I could start saving up money. I didn't care what job it was. I just wanted to start saving money and then just keep applying until I got something that was in my field and that I felt comfortable with. So I was working at this cardiology office. And, I'm not experienced in the medical field at all. And that was kind of an easy job. It was mostly, I guess, data entry and transcription work and editing. So it wasn't anything too bad. I also had a friend who worked there too, who she helped me get the job. So it was nice to have a friend while working there. Now, when I was working there, where I was working was this upper level, and then on the lower level were all of the doctors and all of that stuff where the patients would see them. So sometimes the doctors would come up to the upper level to talk with us, just have a quick little chat, stuff like that. Now, there was this one doctor, I will not be using his name out of respect for him, but this one specific doctor would come up all the time, and he was always very, very nice. But this was when, my abilities were kind of getting stronger. Now, I always felt like I had some sort of abilities, but I didn't know what really. I didn't know the extent of them. So this was when I kind of had more of a spiritual awakening where I was like, okay, I think I can predict things, So when I first met this doctor, this was the first time I had ever received information and was like, oh wow, maybe I know something. But I would also doubt myself a lot because it was the first time that I've ever experienced anything like that. So of course I was going to doubt myself a lot. So when I first met him, the very first message that I got and felt immediately was that he was very deeply sad and depressed, even though he was so nice and came across very upbeat and happy. I deeply felt an intense amount of depression and sadness just from his energy. And I thought that was weird. I was like, am I overthinking this? Am I crazy? Why do I feel this? So that was the first time that I had met him that I felt that. And I just didn't understand it because he was so nice. So the next time that I had seen him, I had this was my first download. So downloads are kind of like downloaded information in the, spiritual world, where it's kind of like you receive information, natural knowing of things. So I kept getting a lot of words kind of like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Very repetitive information saying that is what I felt and heard. And I was really confused. And it was only anytime I'd seen him. Anytime I would see him, those were the words that would be repeated for me as downloads, as spiritual messages. And it made me really anxious because I was like, no, I'm crazy. Like, I'm definitely crazy. Like, I am overthinking this. I'm definitely wrong, So I was just completely in denial and just denying my spiritual intuition. Now, the third time I saw him, same thing happened again, and it was 10 times more intense of like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, like every single time. On this third time, this was the point where I was like, I feel like I should tell him not to do something, but I don't want to be weird. How do I go up to him and tell him that? And when he was leaving the room and walking down the hallway, I almost did go and run after him and say, hey, I don't want to be weird or anything, but I have this really strong feeling to tell you that there's something that you shouldn't do, right? And I really wanted to do that, but I didn't because I was doubtful and I was denying my intuition and telling myself I was crazy and that I shouldn't say anything and that it's not my business and all of this stuff. So, about the fourth time, or fifth maybe, because I think he came in another time and maybe I just didn't see him, or maybe it's fourth or fifth time. He comes in and this was like the last time. And so this time he came up and I heard where he was, because he was on the other side of the office talking to a group of people, so I didn't get to say hi to him or anything. But when he was talking with them, I felt a deep, eerie feeling in the room. And it especially came from him, obviously, but I just was feeling this really deep, intense feeling of like, this feels like the last time that I'm going to see him ever. And I was like, no, you're crazy for thinking that. And I was feeling like I should go say something at that point, but I still didn't because I was like, no, like your intuition's crazy, don't trust it, blah, blah, blah. And so I didn't. Now, I think about a week or two went by after that when I had last seen him. And over one of my weekends, when I had like a weekend off or whatever, I remember going to bed, and in the middle of the night, I think it had to have been around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. on maybe like a Saturday night, or a Friday or a Saturday night, something like that. I woke up in the middle of the night, and it felt like I was woken up. It was around 3 a.m., which if you are a spiritual person, 3 a.m. is a very spiritual hour. So when I woke up at that time, I felt a very strong male presence. And I just felt like I knew something. But I was still doubting it, still, at that point. I don't know why, but I just, when you're just in your head. And like I said, it was the first time I had a spiritual awakening like this where I really had genuine natural knowing but doubted it. And so anyways, fast forward, so when that weekend happened and I went into work on the Monday, I felt a really deep, airy vibe, and like something went wrong, like something happened. So they gathered up everyone at work and they said that this doctor had went missing. And as soon as they said that, my heart dropped because I immediately knew that he was not alive anymore. I immediately knew that I believed that he had died by suicide. Like, as soon as they told us, the first thought that came to my mind was like, oh my God, he did it. He actually did it, was literally my first thought. And at that point, I started not doubting myself as much, but I felt also very guilty because I was feeling like I should have told him ahead of time, like, hey, don't do it. But, you know, for the longest while, I was harsh on myself for that. But I also, you know, because I talked to someone about this and they told me, hey, you know, you can't be too harsh on yourself about it because maybe even if you did speak up, maybe that still would have happened. You know, like maybe I couldn't have controlled that or changed it or anything. But, you know, when that did happen, it still made me feel guilty. So to continue the story, he had gone missing, right? And he was missing for weeks to almost a month, or I think it was maybe weeks. And one of the days going into work, I remember when I was getting ready that morning, before even getting into the office, when I was getting ready at home, I felt a really sad, intense, eerie vibe all over again. And I felt like they were going to announce that they found his body. I felt that, and I trusted it. And surely enough, when I walk into the building, when I walk into the office area where everyone is, I immediately feel a really dreary, sad, intense vibe, and nothing was announced yet. Nothing was announced yet. And so 5 minutes after sitting at my desk, they call everybody in the room and say that they found his body in the water, which I forgot to mention this part, but I also knew that they would find him in water. I felt water, you know, not physically felt it, but I felt like they would find him in water prior to. Sorry I didn't mention that before, but that was also another detail in there of something that I felt strongly about. And the reason why my gut and intuition felt that it would be water is because he had children, and I felt like he didn't want to be found anywhere where they could see that. So I feel like that's why he had chosen water. So when they announced this to everybody, that his body was found in water, and I was there hearing all of this after knowing that all of this would happen, I felt crazy. I felt weird, and it was also a lot of energy overload as well, and I also felt guilty. So I was kind of like, not gonna lie, kind of panicky. I mean, who wouldn't be? I was trying to drink my water. I also, when you tell a group of people that information, I mean, obviously the energy in the room goes crazy in the sense of like, you can definitely tell everybody's sad, but for me personally, because I have like an empathic ability as well, I can honestly feel all of the emotions. So it was a lot for me. I actually went straight to the bathroom. And when I went to the bathroom, now I have the ability to hear. But when I hear, I don't hear words. I don't always hear breathing. I more so hear pitches. Now, some psychics can hear actual voices. I have not heard a voice yet, thank God. But this was the first time that I had ever heard something that was not my own voice with me and was not another person. Now, when I went into the bathroom, I was the only person in there. And you know when sometimes you think that you hear someone breathing in the room with you and then you're like, oh, it's just myself? Well, I wanted to double check that it was not just me. So I stopped breathing for a second just to hear. And then all of a sudden, when it's dead quiet, I hear heavy breathing in the stall right next to me, and I was all alone in that bathroom, and all I hear is literally. And I have never fucking gotten out of a bathroom so fast in my entire life, and that was pure confirmation that everything that I predicted was all like truthfully my abilities. That's the first time that I had such an intense spiritual awakening like that. Like, I've had dream abilities. I've had, I receive numbers and messages through numbers and stuff like that, but that was the first time I had ever predicted something. That was my first ever, like, big prediction, and it was the craziest thing that I've ever experienced, and I'll literally never forget it. And especially that experience in the bathroom, too, with hearing breathing that was not my own, was the craziest thing I've ever experienced, too, because I've never, ever heard, like, another voice like that. I've never even, I've heard, like, pitches and stuff like that, but not that. So it was really scary. It was just a lot of energy that I was dealing with in that current moment. But, I prayed and I meditated and I relaxed, and I learned how to control my abilities better with tapping in and tapping out and stuff like that. But like I said, that was the craziest experience I've ever been through, and it taught me a lot about myself and my intuition, and also taught me that if I'm feeling something, I should honestly just say it from the very beginning. Even if the outcome might be the same, it's better to just still speak up, So it's something that I wish I did speak up on at the time and think about from time to time. So now when I do have an intuitive feeling, I'm a little bit more vocal just because of that experience. So the biggest thing to take away from this is that if you are feeling something that strongly, don't be afraid or feel crazy to speak up. I think it's totally valid and okay to speak up, even if you think you sound crazy. At least you were trying to help and try to do right by someone. So that's my biggest takeaway from that. And also, if you are ever going through anything where you feel like that's something that you want to do, don't resort to just giving up and ending your life. Know that there's so much more to life and so much more that you can experience in this life, and that isn't always the first way out, There's so many ways to try and cope with your depression and your anxiety and what you're going through. So just know that those sources are there and that there's people who are there that will be there to support you. So if you ever need anybody to talk to, you can talk to me, you can talk to a therapist, you can also call the suicide hotline as well. There are so many sources. So yeah, I just hope that you guys know that. And thank you so much for hearing my story and listening to my story. And I hope that everything I said made sense. I hope that nothing I said was offensive. And if you guys have any questions or anything that you want to ask or anything you want to know more about, feel free to reach out to me and ask me. I have no problem explaining to you guys and all of that. So yeah, thank you so much again. And I hope that you learned something from this. So yeah, we're going to close out this episode now. And we're going to clear up all of the energy that we just let out. So, yeah, we're going to have our sound healing. So sit back, lie down, relax, shut your eyes, take a deep breath in from your nose and out from your mouth. And I'm going to play. Alright, you guys, thank you so very much for joining today's episode. It always means the most to me when you guys join. And if you are new here and you made it this far, thank you so much. It means the absolute most to me. I hope that you definitely come back and, follow all of my social medias and stuff like that. I've got TikTok, I've got Instagram, And I'm on Apple and Spotify, so, go follow and like and subscribe on everything. And I hope to see you guys all next week. I hope you guys have the bestest week ever. And I love you all so very much. Goodbye!